What's up, my comic comrades? Today we continue breaking down Future State, the next Batman miniseries with issue 2. That's right, we're already at the halfway mark as this limited series is only 4 issues long. So let's see where this issue takes this new Batman, and obviously there's gonna be spoilers for this issue and the first one, so that's your spoiler warning. The book starts off with Batman leaping through the air saying, "Don't get me wrong, Gotham City's got a lot going for it. A hot restaurant scene, joints that still kick live music, and the skyline at sunset. Sorry, it's the best." But once the sun goes down, Gotham's got little better to offer up than violence and murder, as he finds a dead body with massive blunt force trauma, a victim who was beaten to death. He then says to himself whoever did this left his wallet, cash, watch, and phone, so this definitely wasn't a robbery. He also says he's still bleeding out. Even with all the drones, the police haven't arrived yet. This one's hella fresh. He then decides to investigate real quick before the police arrive. So he checks security camera footage that was captured by a coffee shop's camera. He even sees the 2 assailants that were waiting for the victim, meaning this was a planned hit. And while watching the footage, he learns that they weren't trained fighters, but they were extremely brutal, continuing to beat the victim well after he was dead. We also learn these 2 assailants were wearing polygon masks to defeat facial recognition from AI. Batman then says, "These 2 are professionals." Now, if you remember at the end of issue 1, we see this attack about to go down. And my guess at the time was these were future members of the Red Hood gang. But it seems that was wrong. The masks just so happen to be red, and they just so happen to be wearing hoods. All of it is just to get past AI facial recognition. Anyway, after Batman takes images of the 2 assailants, he then says to himself, "I need to get these images to Val." But just as he says this to himself, Magistrate foot soldiers show up, and Batman is number 1 on their kill list. This Batman then says, "I remind myself they're just private cops. I tell myself they're just doing their jobs, and I'm just doing mine," as he leaps in from above, starting to attack the soldiers. This leads to a brawl inside the coffee shop, at which point Batman says, "It's too tight in here. Sticking around is not a good idea." So he jumps out the window into the alley, but guess what? There's Magistrate backup waiting for him in the alley. So he throws batarangs at them, but it does nothing because the soldiers are covered head to toe in body armor. So at this point, Batman starts running away, and the soldiers say he's moving, weapons free, open fire, at which point he gets shot in the side, but he's able to use flashbangs to distract them long enough to get away. We then get a panel where the soldiers are looking into a dark alley, and all of a sudden they see red eyes light up, which obviously terrifies them. And then on the next page, we see it's Batman on a dirt bike who's charging at them. Now on the run on his dirt bike, he radios into Val saying, "You there?" And the voice answers saying, "I'm here." He then tells this person, "I'm uploading a video of a couple of perks I need tracked. I'm looking at them for a murder. Also, I'm sending the Vic's ID, Lou Jersevsky. See what you can find out about them." The voice then answers saying, "Got it. I'm picking up on chatter. The peacekeepers are setting up a perimeter. They're serious about their shoot-on-sight orders." Batman then says, "Drones up ahead. They're tracking this phone. I've got to go dark. Find the perps. They're close. I'll contact you when I can, but not on this line. This phone's burned." We then see Tanya, Lucius Fox's wife, talking to the mayor saying, "This shoot-on-sight law Gotham currently has is garbage, Mr. Mayor." He tells her, "If I wanted to lecture Tanya, I would have called in one of the ACL types who are fighting us against this law. I thought you supported it." She tells him, "I do. I know how dangerous these masks are. All of them. I've seen what they've done to my family, to my husband, our daughter. They all deserve to pay for what they did to Tamara," as she clenches her fists. She continues to tell him, "The way the law is written, it's not going to stand up to a challenge. You should have brought me in or some other constitutional lawyer before you put the law on the books and hired a private army to enforce it." The mayor then tells her, "When the peacekeepers took out Batman, the other Batman, we had the fringe types moaning about due process. When it comes to dealing with this new Batman, we want to," and she interrupts saying, "Do it right?" He then finishes his sentence saying, "To do it a way that stands up to a legal challenge. Can you help us?" She then tells him there's a problem. The department requires police officers to use equal or lesser force. She says if a beat cop used an ordinary service pistol against the Joker or Punchline, fine. But the Magistrate, a private militarized assault force using bullets tipped with uranium, shotguns that fire dragon's breath, killer drones, there's nothing equal or lesser about any of that. The mayor then says the city contracts its ordinance through Fox Tech. If you have a problem with the firepower, maybe you should talk to your husband. Elsewhere, we see this new Batman hiding inside of a shipping container where compression packs inside of his suit are keeping him from bleeding out. He then says there's nothing he could do about the pain except ignore it. He continues to tell himself, "I could barely handle Magistrate foot soldiers. How am I supposed to manage the peacekeepers? Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm trying to punish the guilty or just punish myself. Truth is, it's pretty much the same thing." He then starts talking to Val again, who is clearly an Alfred or Oracle type. We don't learn anything about this person in this issue besides the fact that he calls him or her Val. Anyway, being his guy in the chair, Val is able to get Batman the location of the 2 assailants he's looking for. So Batman gets on his dirt bike and starts heading to said location. Back at the crime scene from earlier, we see Magistrate foot soldiers discuss how Batman got away and where he could be. Meanwhile, Chubb, the detective introduced to us last issue, tells the Magistrate soldiers, "I'm not sure if any of you actually care, but we have a dead body over here." And one of the heads of the Magistrate foot soldiers say, "Not our problem, detective. We get paid to take out masks. Collateral damage is for the rest of you." Meanwhile, Batman is able to corner the 2 people who killed the man from the beginning of the issue. He then says to himself, "I don't know if I have it in me to take out 2 psychopaths. Maybe I won't have to. Maybe the fear of the bat alone will make them surrender. But it doesn't, to which he says to himself, man, what happened to the thugs being cowardly and superstitious? Long story short, Batman is able to get the upper hand and starts beating one of them on the ground, at which point a voice says, stop, as one of the killers takes down her hood, saying, please don't hurt him. We give up, at which point he says, you murdered Jurshevsky. She says yes, and he asks why, and the man Batman's on top of says, because he killed our daughter. He was one of those creeps you read about, goes online, grooms young kids, then meets them in real life to do things. He met our daughter on social media, he got into her head, then had her come visit him, and then we never saw her again. The mother goes on to say, he was careful, he was never explicit online, he didn't pay for our daughter's ticket, and they never found her body. The police aren't gonna do anything. Batman then says, but you decided you could? The mom replies, we found someone on the dark web. For a price, he helps you plan a crime, just one, then you have to disappear. Jurshevsky was a murderer. The guilty deserve to be punished. You're the Batman, don't you believe that? Batman then says to himself while thinking about a past event, I am the Batman. Do I believe the guilty deserve to be punished? Yeah. I believe the guilty deserve what they get. As we see a dying shadowy figure stand by a dying man saying, help me. So clearly, this is some pivotal moment in this new Batman's past, aka Tim Fox. That's right, if you guys didn't watch our episode on issue 1 of this new Batman, Tim Fox, Lucius Fox's son, is the new Batman. Batman then says, even if he did kill your daughter, and the dad interrupts saying, there is no if. He did it. The Dark Knight continues to say, what you still did was murder. And the mother says, that monster took our little girl. We have nothing. What else can you do to us? And as she continues talking, we see a voice say, he's not the one you have to worry about. We are. And on the next page, we see the Magistrate soldiers show up with drones and mechs as the issue ends. But there you have it, my comic comrades, issue 2 of the next Batman. With that said, I'm not sure how I feel about this series thus far. I like the story, it's not bad. I just don't really care that much because I'm not invested to this new Batman. Like, they were just kind of like, here, this is the new Batman with no origin story or no explanation. He's just the new Batman. With that said, I get it, this is future state, meaning it's supposed to show us the future. Then in March, once Infinite Frontier starts, we'll probably get origins for some of these characters. But as of now, there's nothing that makes me super attached to this character. Now, if this new Batman was like Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne, or any other character we've had a long history with, I'm sure I would be way more invested. But Tim Fox has not been used that much in comics, and definitely not tied anywhere near Batman. So as for now, I'm like, okay, we'll ride this out and see where it goes. But as I always say, that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think of this next Batman series? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section. And just like that, that's gonna bring another episode of Variant to a close. But if you like today's episode, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, as always, subscribe, like, and comment. It helps us out. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.